Hello, in this video I will show how to create a simple calculator program with C++ language, and the purpose of this video is to show how to have a good structure in a program, that I'm not only creating a functional simple program, but I try to make it as well as possible. I can't say that this is perfect even now, but I mean that I try to not to do it in a beginner's way. I'm trying to kind of go a little bit further than a beginner level, so that we can understand that how normally programs are created. I will first run this program so we can see how the final product looks like. So I already have done this coding. It took me like 1 hour, I think about 1 hour it took me to do this, and let's run it now. So it's a console application. So we have this menu first, that welcome to calculating numbers, and then we have this menu, different options. Okay, let's for example, let's divide. We select the number 4. We want to divide. Okay, dividing numbers. So that we are dividing two numbers. So let's divide 6 by 0. Ouch! We can't divide by 0, isn't it? So let's press enter. But the program can see that cannot divide by 0. Please enter numbers again. Okay, so let's try again. 5 divided by 3, and there we go. We have the answer 1.666. Okay, let's try something else, like multiply 5.9 multiplied by 4. Well, I don't know if it's 23.6. I think it's very close at least, isn't it? And so on. And then finally we can say exit 0. And there you go. Thank you for using this calculator. So let's see now how we can create this. And once again, I'm trying to do this nicely, this program, that the structure is good. So before we start this, I can already say that I'm not going to teach the very basics here, which I mean are functions and enums, for example. So to understand this code here, it's good that the person whoever is studying this code understands basics about functions and enums. I have done videos myself about functions. I did a series about functions, so you are welcome to go and check them if you want. So I'm not going to explain what function means, but to have a good program, it's important that we have functions in a program, because that's what beginners normally do, that they don't use functions. Everything is in a main. So there's a very long code here, and everything is here. But as you can see, I have nothing in the main here. The first thing I'm calling here is a function straight away. Okay, so let's start. Right. So this is the first thing here. First we have this enum here. We define here that what kind of operations this calculator is going to have. So we start with none. Operation none means that there was no action. It means like nil, no action, because sometimes we need to return none or nil. So I just added this one as well. And then these are the real actions here. So we have a plus action, minus, multiply, divide, and exit. So exit will be like some button, maybe that exit calculator, for example, could be. But anyway, it means that exit the calculator. Okay, and then we're gonna have a set of functions here which are gonna do one task. That's the whole purpose of functions, that they always do one task. So let's look at this function first. We have a function called ask operation. Because these functions are very independent, by the way. They are independent, so we can look them one by one, no problem. Because that's the whole purpose of functions, that they should be independent. They don't have any globals in them, so we can check them one by one and then start using them easily. So the first function here is ask operation. The purpose of this function is ask from the user operation like it says. So it will first print this menu here. Please select operation plus, minus, multiply, divide, and I'll make this a little bit bigger, and there's an end line, new line here. So here we are printing the menu first, and then we are capturing whatever the user types. It will go to this integer here. Console input will capture whatever the user types, and it needs to be an integer type in here. By the way, I'm not checking the error case. If the user types a letter, for example, here, I'm not checking it here. I wanted to keep this simple, this program, so I'm not checking all the errors here really. I could do that, but I decided not to do it this time. So we are expecting user to type an integer, one of the selections here. And then this switch case here is just checking that what it was. If in a case it was a zero integer, then we will set this return value, because this is going to be the return value. As you can see, I'm returning this operation value here at the end, return. So the function returns the operation. So I'm setting, if the user types 0, we are setting the operation to this enum value exit, this one here, because 0 was exit here. So the operation is set to exit, and if the user types 1, I'm setting this operation to plus, because it's here. And if in a case the user entered 2, I'm setting this operation to be minus from here, and so on. So it looks it's quite obvious what we do here, and default means in this case that, for example, if the user types, let's say user types 10, well, it's no valid operation here. 10 is not a valid operation. So if it's something else than a valid operation, it will go to the default section here, and we are setting the operation to be none. And now we can see why we needed this none, because we sometimes need to set this variable to none. And so this function returns whatever the operation was. So we are returning it here. And what did I do here? Okay, that's right. So let's go back here. So this function just returns whatever the selection was, but it returns it as an enum. That's the only difference here, really here. That we don't want to use these integers, because we don't want to have a okay the user select for example 4. What is 4? I don't know what is 4, but if I see this one, I know what it is. I know it's divide. So that's why we are using this enum rather than these numbers. So I'm actually converting these numbers so that we are using enums instead of these plain numbers. So we don't want to use 4, we want to use this enum divide, because it's easier for us humans to continue coding after that. And that's it. So this is asking operation, and it will return the corresponding enum, what was the selection. Let's look at the next function. Next function will be that we are asking 2 numbers from the user. So the only task this function is doing is that it will ask from the user 2 numbers, and it will store them to this one and this one. As we can see, I put here the first argument in this function is a reference variable, which means that we can change the calling variable. I have a video about this. I have done a video about reference variables, and I was talking about this passing by reference to function. I'm not gonna go to details in this case, but it simply means that if you pass, here's the reference here. So if you pass by reference, then you can change the calling variable. For example, if I call this function now, let's say I create a double here, a, and then I say call this function ask two numbers. Well, actually I need to have a and b because we need to, and then we need to have the header here as well. So let's say I call it a, b, and then I say divide header. It's just a string I'm printing here, but anyway, this is not the point here, but this a and b is the point here now. So this is how we can call it, and now this function now is able to change a and b. And in this case we want to ask from the user the first number, so and when the first number is entered, it will be assigned to a. So this a, after this function call, a contains the first number and b contains the second number. Right. And the third parameter here is the header, because we want to print here that we want to ask first number and second number, but we want to tell that okay, this is for example for multiplication, this is for the multiplication. So this is also a variable, so that we can print a header here that what kind of numbers we are asking. Is it plus, minus numbers? Are we adding something? Are we subtracting something? So this header is telling that what kind of first number and what kind of second number we are asking from the user. So yes, so there's nothing more here. And then next function here is add numbers. So this function is gonna use this function above. So we are creating these two double variables here, and we are asking from the user two numbers, and they will be assigned to these two, and then we will just return the sum of them. So this one plus this one. So this function just returns the first number plus the second number. And we are using this function to get those two values from the user. And as you can see, I have put the header here. So we are calling this ask numbers here with the header adding numbers. And here we have the subtract numbers. So we are calling the same function here. Again, as you can see, I'm repeating the same. This is the whole purpose of functions, that we can use the same functions with different parameters, and we don't need to repeat this code. The code is in one place here, and we are just calling it with the different parameters and using it from many places. Here it's here as well. So we are calling it from many places. So we don't need to have this code in all of these places. It can be in one place here, and if we want to change something here, the change will apply to all of them at the same time nicely. Okay, so add two numbers. So this is going to be the header here, adding numbers, and then we have subtract numbers, and again we are asking first number and second number, and with this header, with subtracting numbers header, and we are returning obviously first number minus second number, whoever is calling this function. And then we have multiplying numbers. Again we are asking two numbers with this header, multiplying numbers, and then we will return first number multiplied by second number. Okay, and then we have the dividing numbers. So this is a little bit more complicated. Why? Well, the only reason is it's a little bit more complicated because we can't divide by 0. Like we can't do stuff like this, 4 divided by 0. This is illegal in maths. We can't do such things. So we have to check that if the second number is 0, we have to ask from the user again that okay, actually we are printing this message, cannot divide by 0, please enter number again. So we keep asking that the question as long as until the user enters a correct second number, so that we can divide with that number. So the way it works, again we are creating these two first number and second number variables, and then we have this do while loop. So we are looping this section until while the second number is 0. So if the second number is 0, we are looping again, and we come here again. And if the second number is again 0, we will do it. We will ask again. So this do while loop keeps looping until the user enters something else than 0 as a second number. So ask two numbers. We're asking, and this will be the header, dividing numbers. And here we are checking that if the second number is 0, then print cannot divide by 0, please enter numbers again. And here we are checking that are we going to continue this loop, the same check. So if the second number is 0, then go to this line again and ask again, dividing by numbers. Ask these two numbers again, and so on. And when the user enters correct numbers, first number and second number, which are valid numbers. I mean, when the user enters valid first and second number, then we just return here first number divided by second number. And then we have this function called handle operation. Why is this? Because the logic here, how we do this thing, is that we are first going to ask the user the operation using this function, ask operation, okay, and it will return this enum, the corresponding enum for the selection. Let's say that user selected minus, so this one returns this minus enum here. And after we got the selection, then we need to handle the selection. So that's the purpose of this function. It will handle, as you can see, it takes this selection as a parameter. So if the user typed minus, we would call this function with minus. So this handles. It's gonna do the action according to what was the selection. Okay, and here we have this. So we will, for example, if the user typed minus, if the user selected minus, we would call this something like this, handle operation minus handle minus operation. And what does this function do? It goes here. It will return this result, which will be set here inside the switch section. So we are checking that what is this operation. If the operation is plus operation, then we will add numbers. We will call this function add numbers, which we already checked here. So this function is asking two numbers, and then it will return the sum of them. And so we will assign this sum to this result, and we will return that result. If the operation was a minus operation, we will ask the user two numbers, and then this function will subtract those numbers and return the result. If it was a multiply selection, we will ask two numbers from the user, and this function will multiply those numbers and return the result. And we are assigning that result here to this result variable. And lastly, if the user selected divide, then we will call this dividing numbers function, which was here. And this dividing numbers is gonna ask two numbers, and it will divide those numbers and return the result. And we are assigning the result to this result variable. So this just returns the result of the operation which was asked. That's it. And let's go to the main now. So this is the main where the program starts. And as you can see, I only call this function run calculator. So I'm doing nothing more here, because I think it is a good practice that in the main we are only doing as little as possible, because we only want to do in the main stuff which belongs to the main. Like for example, if the user enters some arguments when they run this program. You could put some arguments, args here. When we run the executable program, we could handle the args here and maybe save something to the file or something, some stuff. We are doing nothing here at the moment, but this program is ready for that now. So we're just calling this run calculator, which will do the which runs the calculator. And here is the function. This is the last function we need to check. So this is the main function here, which runs this whole calculator. So it uses all those functions which we have already checked above. So let's see what happens here. So we create this result variable which we need later on here, and operation we are initializing this operation to no operation, because at the moment we have no operation when we start program, and then we will just print the hello message here, and then we will loop this section. We will loop this calculator, which means that we keep asking the user that what do you want to select, and then the user does the selection, and then we are asking again that do you want to make another calculation. So this keeps looping until the user selects exit. That's why it's here that while the operation is not exit operation, keep looping this section. Okay, so what are we looping here? So we are asking here first, we are asking here the operation from the user. It's just so this function was the function which asked the okay, is it minus, plus, divide, whatever, and we are saving the operation to this variable. Let's say, for example, minus, and here we are checking that if the operation was non-operation. What did this mean? We already saw this before. Well, the non-operation was, this is the first function here, the non-operation happens when the user selects something else which is in this selection. So if the user types 9, this will return none, because there is no such option like 9. So if the operation is none, then we will just print on the screen that unknown selection, please select again. And here we are checking at the end condition in this while loop, that while this operation while it's none, keep repeating this. So when the user selects something else than none, I mean when the user selects a selection which is one of these, then this while loop will finish, or I mean end. Where are we? We are here. So when the user selects one of those valid operations, we are going here, and here we are checking that if the operation is not exit operation, because if it's an exit operation, we're not going to do any calculations, obviously. So this is, we are just checking here that is it an exit operation or not. So if it's not exit operation, then we go here inside and we start doing the maths. We're starting to do the mathematical calculations with that operation. So we are calling this handle operation, which was here. So we are passing this operation selection to the handle operation, and this handle operation is doing the main thing, that it will ask the user the corresponding question, and it will do the calculation and it will return the result. So we are just assigning the result to here, and then we are printing that the result is, and whatever the result is here. And if it was an exit operation, then obviously next time we go here at the top, it would end this while loop and it will go here. It would go here and say thank you for using this calculator. Okay, here it is. And I will put a link where you can download the source code from GitHub, and feel free to look at it, and feel free to ask any questions if you have regarding this. I'm happy to answer. Thank you for watching.